Good Sunday afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. I have a special guest today that I'll be introducing to you momentarily. But first, I just want to do a little bit of recap as to what's been going on this month. We've had 31 days of Zen, and that means we've been bringing content to you every single day. So we've had a wide range of practices from yoga to Pilates, back to yoga and back to Pilates. So tomorrow I'll be ending the 31 days with a fusion of the two of them, mixing yoga and Pilates for Yoga Lattes. And that will be a 1-hour practice. And if you check back on all the recaps of what's gone on this month, you have a wide choice. Hey, Shay. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. So I'm just doing a little recap of the month that we've just experienced for 31 days of Zen. Still one day to go after today. And there's lots to choose from. There's some Q&As. There's some tutorials on how to do certain exercises. So be sure to scan that. Also, some guests that I've hosted throughout the month that have been so gracious to give of their time and their experience as well to share with all of you who come on and watch live and have come on the replay. So big thank you to everyone. Thank you to the new subscribers, and thank you for the existing subscribers for sticking with me and for just being here and offering your support. Your comments mean so much, and I really appreciate it. So welcome everyone as you're coming on to this live today as well. So as far as our topic today is looking at yoga and the fitness journey, because many of the people that come into the community here are fitness enthusiasts, whether it is yoga or another discipline. And Miriam is a really good friend of mine. And, you know, if you're going to host someone, you want to have somebody who is kind of your cheerleader, somebody who supports you, somebody who has nice things to say about you. And that's Miriam. You will soon find out that, Miriam has the energy that brings the party wherever she goes, and I always like to go to parties. So it's a perfect mix. We really complement each other very well. But most of all, Miriam has been a journey as a yoga teacher. She has been there to so many of my classes, whether it has been a really chill, gentle practice, a yin practice, or even a power practice. She's been there for so many of my power practices as well. And then when we flipped over to YouTube and offering practices there, Miriam was right there. She's commenting, she's supporting, she's watching. In fact, she wishes that she could have more thumbs up because you can only put your thumbs up once, and she would like to do a lot more than that. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my good friend Miriam Kilby, who is a lifelong fitness enthusiast and a yogi as well. So welcome, Miriam. What do you have to say for yourself today?
Well, good afternoon. What a gorgeous day. And here we are being so disciplined in scheduling this on a Sunday afternoon. And here we are right on time. So it's great to be here, Sue. And I have to thank you for this year plus of COVID being I think the catalyst for you getting your YouTube channel going. And I was reflecting on how this year, I don't know where I'd be if you hadn't put your YouTube together, because frankly, I didn't really know the content that was available on YouTube as far as anything more than my kids watching their favorite YouTubers do all sorts of crazy tricks. I honestly had no idea how much really good content as far as fitness that was out there. So it's been wonderful to have you do your classes and easy to support you, because as you know, I love what you put out there, and it's really helped my mental health as well as my physical health to to be your cheerleader and to participate and you know, enjoy all that free content you put out for everybody. So thanks a lot.
Well, my pleasure. It has been a pleasure, and it's so fulfilling knowing that, you know, it can make such a difference for someone. And some of the comments that you and other supporters have put in the comments throughout the last 15 months, believe it or not.
Wow.
And you know, so it's been very encouraging on my side to see those comments and the difference that it can make to someone to just have, you know, be able to maintain routine, be able to connect with a familiar face, I think is really helpful as well. So yeah, and you're right, there is such an that everyone can find something that really resonates with them. So yeah, and certainly the mental health aspect of it just plays a really, really big role, because that mental health is an area that's been so impacted throughout these last 15 months. So we hang in here as we kind of see maybe the finish line where we can go back to some of our routines, but hopefully as we do that, we can incorporate some of these new habits and the ease of which YouTube brings fitness into your home. So for you, how did you even get started? I mean, we connected, I was thinking back earlier today in preparation for this interview. It's been like 10 years.
Yep.
Like that, you know, we've been meeting on the mat. So tell us a little bit about your journey that brought you to doing yoga.
Sure. So in my early 20s, I was a fitness instructor. I was teaching aerobics and step and all those things that were happening at gyms at the time. And I was at a conference, a Can Fit Pro conference in Toronto. And one of the sessions I did, it was the end of a day of doing, you know, so much energetic working out. And it was a yoga class. And it was my first experience with that. Although my parents had done yoga since I was a little girl, I never participated with them. And so I knew it was good for you and very relaxing. And I knew corpse pose, but that was probably about it. And doing this yoga class at the end of this, like I said, like super energetic fitness conference, you know, like the energy couldn't have been higher. And to just go into this space with hundreds of people and just kind of chill out and doing the yoga. I think it was Ashtanga that, so more a power yoga. It just made me feel so good and so at ease, and I just can't even describe it. It was amazing. It's like coming out of having a wonderful deep tissue massage. So following that, that particular instructor happened to come from Ottawa, so I tracked her down and signed up for a class through the city of Ottawa. She was teaching. Janice Tokarik was her name. And I started doing yoga then. And that was probably not long after that I met Paul, who's my husband now, you know. And he was already practicing yoga at a studio in Ottawa, Santosha Yoga. And it was not the, you know, the city program kind of format, not a gym format of yoga, but real yoga studio. So it had this kind of earthiness to the experience. And I did yoga there a number of years, probably till our first son was born, till Owen was born. And then raising young children and getting to a yoga class was super difficult.
Yeah,
so there was a bit of a lapse there for a number of years. And then lo and behold, I was parked in a parking lot and somebody put a flyer under my the wipers, the windshield wipers, for Blue Bamboo, where you were teaching.
Right.
And so I signed up for this, I don't know if it was a free class or it was super cheap. And that's what brought me to Blue Bamboo. And I guess I must have done one of your classes at that point. And then I was hooked.
I know they were doing Groupons for quite a while when Steph, the original owner, was trying to really get the word out and really promote the studio. So probably, I remember when they were actually doing that, putting the flyers on cars. So
yeah, so that serendipity, the timing was right. The kids were a bit older. I guess, I had babysitting when I wanted to go do a class, and then I must have found your class. I remember Monday morning, and just so excited for Monday morning, and my dad would come and babysit Noah, and off I would go to your class, and it was just a great way to start my week.
Yeah.
And then we continued there with Blue Bamboo for, I don't know, a couple of years or something. And then I got a gym membership, and then I was doing yoga at the gym, but missing your classes. And remember, I visualized that you would be teaching there, and
yes,
it happened. So that was great. So we've been doing yoga together at the gym for a number of years and benefiting from like all the equipment and the different studios and the hot studio and the other one. And so that's been my journey as far as the location. The experience this year has been just so rich doing yoga at home. Like, I'm not a person that would normally work out at home at all, but because of the circumstances of all these many lockdowns and gym opening, closing, not being able to do group fitness classes, has really, forced me to continue with the working out at home, but easy because I'm doing it with my yoga teacher, my friend, who I'm so used to. So this familiar feeling of, even though it's on YouTube, it's, my teacher is in my basement studio when I'm doing yoga. So it's been easy. It's been easy to follow along and do your classes and to motivate myself to participate. So it's been really, really good.
Good. So as we've been forced to make that transition from working out in a physical location and then moving on to virtual, what would you say are some of the maybe some of the qualities, like if you were to do a comparison, what's it like? And specifically, you can point to me because you've done both.
Yeah.
What are some of the differences and the similarities of what it's like for me to be leading you in a class in person and for me to be leading you on the mat virtually?
Right. So, so virtually, there are so many options of all those videos that you have uploaded to YouTube. Like, the choice is exceptional. The how am I feeling today? And I scroll through your videos and I can pick the class that way. If it was doing your classes in a studio, I'm narrowed down to what you happen to be teaching on that particular day, and can I get to the class on time from work, which working from home now, it's less of a problem. So, and the classes obviously have a set time and length of time. So the videos that you have are anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour classes that I can choose from. So I do miss the longer class time from the studio, and the intensity, I would say, is probably more challenging at the gym. at the studio classes. That you've done a few recently, the power ones that are more what I was used to in going to the gym to do your class. Also, good and bad. At the gym we have the hot yoga room, which I don't know what would you crank the heat to there?
It was always over 100. Generally between 101 and 105. After a certain point, it stops registering
Yeah.
the thermostat, so it's
Yeah,
just really rough.
So those hot classes are like pretty intense,
Yes.
Add an extra element of challenge and feeling of like running a marathon, that endurance and sweat. And as you know, I would park myself at the back of the room, getting the cool air coming off of the water fountain to refill our water bottles, because I figured that was the coolest spot in the class. So temperature control at home is really good.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the doing a power yoga class in the temperature that feels more comfortable for me. But I also miss that forced challenge of a hot yoga class that you feel pretty proud of yourself when you're done and you step out of that hot room into the cool gym and you've earned your shower.
Absolutely, because I always the people that come to a hot studio or hot class, especially a hot power class, they're really looking for that. So I hate to disappoint, so it's like crank it up. And that's what they get. And I think most people that are coming to that are quite content. It's those who might not be used to hot power that it takes some getting used to. It may take a few practices, but over time you do get used to it. And it's last week we had that pretty hot, humid weather here. So, give it another month or so, we'll probably be able to do some hot power at home.
I've thought about even going outside on those few hot days. It's just, no, I couldn't face it. But
yeah.
And I think also the difference of doing yoga, like power, for instance, where you're really challenging yourself physically and mentally to hold those poses. And for me anyway, there's a level of pushing myself that little bit harder because I know there's other people in the room around me. We're all in our own heads and doing our own thing, but every once in a while I might be looking over at the person next to me or in front of me and seeing how well they're doing. And if they're really good practitioners, like I'll want to keep up. So,
right.
I think like that competitive drive definitely comes out in a studio space.
I can definitely relate to that. Overall, it's said that yoga is completely non-competitive, but even though maybe you can look at it as inspiration. Motivation, because there's an energy for sure when you're in that group that really just gets everyone it's kind of contagious, where that energy will motivate you to, you're ready to give it up, but you see everybody else around you holding and staying in the pose, so you just you push yourself a little bit harder. And I think it's with the experience that you learn to know when you should be pushing and when you should be just because I've seen you just say, that's it, I'm going into child's pose and I'm just going to chill here, or I'm going into downward dog, or and I'm going to wait this one out. And it's the wisdom that you develop through the experience to know when it's too much, or when you should be easing back and just really listening to your own body. So there is so much learning that goes on on the mat to
Yeah. And I
yeah.
think the other cool thing about doing yoga in a class where there's, 10 to 20 to 30 people, whoever's in the class that particular day. And if it's a difficult pose that you think you can achieve, yet you see somebody who's not your instructor, who, I expect to have way more experience and ability, that's able to pull off that pose, it feels like, oh, okay, like that person next to me can do that headstand. Well, it's achievable. It feels like I have more of a chance to reach that. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So that is probably the one thing that is a little bit more difficult to get that sense when you're going virtual. You might, give in a little bit more perhaps to some of the distractions around you. Whereas when you're in the classroom, once those doors close, there's stimuli from other people in the room, but it's what's going on between the four corners of your mat that's really where you're at.
That's right.
You don't really get an opportunity to think about a whole lot else while you're within those four corners, because there's plenty going on physically and mentally as you make those mind-body connections.
Yeah.
When you're working through that. So, yeah. Did you have
and the same, like, not just power, your yin classes that I was pretty religious going to those at least once a week also.
Yeah.
And, you get to that 3.5 minute holding a pose and you just wonder, am I going to get to this 5 minutes? Oh, I'm going to give up. But the same feeling, like you're in this room with 20 other people. Well, okay, I can do it. I can hold it. I don't want to be that person that stops holding this pose.
We're so alike.
yeah, like it's a good quality and maybe sometimes not so good if we're pushing ourselves beyond our limit. But.
Yeah, and it really forces you to look at yourself and kind of start to evaluate whether it's ego or whether it's just maybe giving up too soon because you're being challenged. So learning to decipher the difference between the two is crucial, and those lessons on the mat will definitely translate in your everyday life. As you're faced with challenges every single day, what you've learned on the mat may help you to push beyond and not give up too soon, because you can tap into that wisdom.
Yeah.
You develop on the mat.
Working through the discomfort of, what's that pose? The fire log where you're.
Yes. Yeah. Fire log. Double kicking.
Definitely. The experience of yoga and holding certain poses and you're right. You can bring that experience to life. Like there's discomfort. You're just kind of getting into it at the beginning and not sure where your body needs to go. And then you relax into the pose that you're doing and breathe. And my mind anyway, seems to allow me, okay, a good minute, no problem. But then as the time goes on and it's like, I'm starting to feel more uncomfortable, and okay, breathe, and are we done yet? No, still not. And hang in there, breathe some more.
Yeah.
And then probably at the 3.5 minute, you're just like, oh, okay, mind, stop already. And then feel how great it feels when you do reach the 5 minute mark, and it's like, okay, well, that wasn't so bad.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's always kind of the feeling. And then we go on to the other side.
Yeah. You hope it's your easier side.
Yeah, exactly. So, so what would you say, through your experiences, at this point in time, what's your favorite yoga pose?
Oh my gosh.
Or
Favorite pose?
do you have one? Or what types? Maybe it's a particular type of pose that you enjoy.
Um, hmm. Like I wouldn't say pose per se as like rhythm. Like if I'm feeling like I want to do a flow class, like that's what my body is seeking for that particular day. I'll go through your list and be like, yeah, that was a good one. And getting into that rhythm and just keeping at it, and the flow, the motion of the flow allows the mind to release and just trust in what you're going to tell me to do next. And then there's other days where I need, feel like the calm of yin and the stretch and the deep tissue stretch of a yin is what I'm seeking. And yeah, my not favorite pose is probably one of those hip fire log types.
Yeah, I was gonna guess that that's what.
I could tell you what I don't like, but what I do like, well, most of it. And yeah, and as you know, like I started this last lockdown with my own challenge of learning how to do a headstand. And when did our last lockdown even start? Like,
well, I think it was
ago?
April or something, mid-April.
So it was, yeah, in Ontario, it was coming again. And I felt so blue with the idea that we would be locked down and what can we possibly do? And it was just a lousy time. So to change my attitude, I set a goal of learning how to do a yoga headstand, which is something I've admired of people, Paul, my husband, Paul included, for more than 20 years. And I've tried it once or twice in a class, but never really put like my full attention on it. And I started trying it out. I didn't watch any videos, no how-tos. I just set myself up in the basement with my phone to record my attempts on video. And I posted it to Facebook, to my friends and family on Facebook. And yeah, it was pretty pathetic at first, but I didn't care because, like, what did I have to do but have time and, this silly challenge that was giving me pleasure because it was very playful. But also, as I posted it online, like a lot of other people were quite entertained by my attempts at doing these headstands. So every day, and some days I would try like 10 times, other times I would try one time. And there was just so much to learn, like the balance, the position, getting over the fear of falling. I don't know, like holding the pose, like once I got my legs up there, it was holding the pose and getting into the pose. At first I would kick my feet up to kind of catch myself.
Yeah.
Now as I do it, I can just go whoop and my legs go up in the air. And this challenge allowed me to just give into this lockdown because what else can we do right now? Like we want to be well and we want to get past this. So there's no fighting it. And yeah, my headstand has become quite good. And I set a goal for a 5-minute headstand, which is kind of ridiculous now. I didn't know how long 5 minutes would feel upside down, but I think I've made it to 3 minutes, and I'm still, every once in a while doing a headstand, not every day right now.
Yeah.
There's still lots to learn, and there's a zone that I get into where my body relaxes, my breathing slows down, there's less consciousness on where my legs are in the air and how many muscles are having to hold my legs up straight. And it feels incredible. And I wouldn't have thought that a headstand could put me in the zone the same way. Downhill skiing, as you know, I love downhill skiing. That feeling of being like the perfect conditions and just, I don't know, like that swooshing and balance and confidence that I get from downhill skiing could also appear that exact same feeling in a yoga headstand.
So you'd set a goal for 21 days?
Well, I just like for a lockdown.
Right.
I think the initial lockdown was supposed to be 28 days.
Right.
And, you know, we're still in it. So just at the end of the lockdown, which I thought was 28 days, I wanted to achieve a 5-minute headstand. And
so how long did it take you to the 3 minutes?
I think 19 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
It's fun. And I didn't edit my videos. Like some, I must say, I'd have 5 tries and I'd pick the best one. But if I was tired and I tried it out and I fell over that day, that's what people saw, you know, like not trying to make things look better than what they are, just really putting out there that this isn't easy, and it makes it all that more exciting to achieve a goal when it's difficult.
Yeah. Now, as you can see on the screen there, there's the best to actually get to see this headstand of yours. I know you got your yoga mat set up in the back.
I do. Well, if the conversation got boring, I promised people I would try. Okay.
Well, I don't think it's boring, but hey.
So if I fall over, don't worry, because I've fallen over before and I don't get hurt.
Yeah, okay.
All right, tuck the shirt in. Here we go.
And
right, am I on the street?
Ladies and gentlemen, she is going down, and there she goes. Nice tuck, nice extension. Whoa! And the biggest fear overcome right there.
All right, one more.
Okay, it's addictive, isn't it?
It is.
Nicely done. Excellent. Yay. Bravo. Thank you for that.
It's harder to do with like an audience, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the other thing, it's like the focus has to be like still for me. I don't know what it's like for you, but I really have to focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And to the point where if I'm in a headstand and I try to smile, like that'll throw me off.
Right. So you do have appreciation for teaching a class and doing these things.
Oh my gosh, like when you do some of those advanced poses, I'm incredibly impressed. I'm cheering for you in my basement. You can't hear me. But
I appreciate it for sure. So what would you know, somebody that might be just tuning in to that part might think, well, you know, that's easy for you to do. You've been doing yoga forever. But, you know, what do you think as a newcomer to the practice? You know, quite often people have so many prejudgments of what yoga is like and what, you know, expectations. You know, what would you say to someone who might just be kind of even entertaining the thought of trying yoga, but is, you know, a little shying away, a little bit hesitant?
right.
You know, what would you say to kind of encourage them to take the step to?
Yeah. I think it's key to to start at a beginner class. You know, don't throw yourself into power yoga as the
That's what I did.
Yeah, me too. But you know, we were doing fitness at the time, right? And there was a level of body awareness that already existed.
Yes, yes.
But I think many people that try yoga, their fitness level may not be at its optimal. You know, they're just going from a couch to a mat, and I think what you learn in a beginner class, as far as the poses, because the teacher is teaching at a beginner level, will talk you through a downward dog, for instance, and proper position. Whereas if you're in a flow class for, you know, intermediate to advanced participants, there's that instruction just isn't there. There's an assumption that you know what flow looks like, and what a downward dog, an upward dog, and what those things should be. So I think it's really important to start at the level that you're at. If you're a beginner, go to a beginner class, or watch, do your beginner level on your YouTube channel. So I think that's really important. I think just trying, you know, what you mentioned earlier is like being aware of your body and what it's saying to you while you're doing a pose, and don't think that going from a, you know, not being an active person to starting a yoga class, that you'll be able to get your body to do a forward bend, to touch your toes. That it takes time to stretch and get into these positions without hurting yourself, you know? Because there's nothing like making the decision to try something active and then putting your back out, you know, like that just sets, you'll never go back probably.
Exactly, because your experience will always be, well, I tried yoga once and this is what happened to me, you know? So yeah, for sure. And that's one of the reasons that I've tried in my offering on YouTube, is to really have something available, you know, from chair yoga, because I do have some clients that are limited to chair yoga, and to gentle, and to practices, you know, such as restorative, that has very little movement. Through the hour of class, you may end up experiencing 3 to 6 poses max. Because you're holding, there's so much instruction around it to really get you to develop that mind-body connection, that you're right, as you say, you may not have the body awareness if you're just coming off the couch and, you know, you haven't done anything maybe since high school days, as far as gym class maybe was the last time that you were active. And so everyone comes with a different story, and with different experiences as far as fitness. So yeah, absolutely. Wise words to live by.
Well, and I think it's important to just try, you know, like keep moving. This is what I learned. Like you mentioned the chair yoga. Well, when you started your channel last year, I was recovering from surgery and couldn't walk. I was 6 weeks non-weight bearing on my right leg. So it's been a road of recovery. And you know, April last year when you did that one, I couldn't walk.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, we're all at different levels at different times, and it's really beneficial to just get moving.
Yeah, and you're right.
And you are moving, to stay moving, you know, like whatever age you are, to keep active.
Absolutely, because you know, we all at some point or another end up with setbacks, and the worst thing you can do is stop. So choose there is something for you if you're in that situation. You know, we've all experienced, whether you're very young, like maybe you're not even in your 20s yet, and, people get injured from sports or whatever, just fluke accidents. People get hurt with the flukiest things, so it can happen to anyone. So just keep moving, as you say, get moving and keep moving once you're moving. And the worst thing you can do is stop. So as far as, your discipline, because this, whether you're doing yoga, whether you're doing Pilates or any other type of fitness, it is a discipline. You juggle a full-time job, 3 children, a husband, a household, a huge gardens, maintain a swimming pool, hot tub in your backyard. Like, how do you fit in fitness in your life, in your busy life?
Right.
Juggle it all.
Yeah. Well, it's easier now, thanks to your channel. The feeling like it's there anytime at any level, because there's so many to choose from of the classes you have on your channel. So as far as scheduling, it's way easier. It's not like, oh, Sue's only teaching at 5:30 Monday. I've got to get there at that time, or I've missed the boat.
Right.
So the discipline as far as scheduling is more flexible, but I know that it's because, I can schedule it myself as opposed to showing up at your class at a certain time. Like, it's on me to make it happen. So yeah, discipline. Well, I love the feeling of movement and the feeling I have while I'm doing it, but also the feeling I have after I do some kind of physical exercise. So really, probably one of those oddballs that doesn't need to be motivated to move. So often, if there's like a chore or something that I should be doing,
Yeah,
I'll be like, oh, perfect. I'm just going to do a yoga class because I know that that's good for me, and that, it's easier to do a class of yours than, like, I don't know, vacuum the house. So I'll pick doing fitness instead. So discipline. I don't know, I just feel better when I do it, so it doesn't take that much effort. Although last week I was a lot more tired. I don't know, the energy and the spring allergies, or just where my body was at last week. I don't think I did yoga for a whole week, and maybe I went swimming only one time, and I was just tired, and I was tired. I let it be. Yeah. And then yesterday, I just went for it. Bike ride, yoga, and swimming all in one day. So
yeah, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. Yeah. And that's part of that, I think, developing that wisdom of the mind-body connection, so that when your body needs a break and you just take it. Sometimes it's just not, I know there's a lot of push hard in the fitness community and keep pushing, and when you don't feel like it, push through anyway. But there's a wisdom that comes from just being able to gauge whether it's a push through day or whether it's my body needs a rest today. And that's so important, to be able to give yourself that grace when you need it, because if you happen to push on those days, that's the day you may get injured. That's just, I found that, through experience, and then it just kind of does something to your mental health as well, sometimes, to give yourself that complete day off, or week off, as it was,
I would say like
stronger.
I wouldn't want to go longer than a week, because then a week could turn into 2 weeks.
Yes. Yeah. No, you're right. But I find that sometimes just taking a step back, you come back and you are stronger. Just because your body has gotten that rest, you're more motivated. You just feel refreshed, and that's the way my body is, and I'm sure for many people, that's the way it is. Because when you're overtired, and maybe there's a buildup of lactic acid in your body, and it's just you're not progressing. So even if you do show up, you're at a higher risk of injury, and there's really no progress attained from your workout or your practice. Right. Really, why not have given yourself that break?
Yeah, I think because of my injury last year and not being able to do so much for so long, that I have there's an inner, such an appreciation for what my body can do now without pain.
Yeah.
And I don't take it for granted. Maybe I will a year from now, but I'm still in this stage where I feel so blessed that I can move and it doesn't hurt, and that my muscles have regained, from the atrophy of not being able to move.
Yeah.
And wow, I'm so much stronger. And I remember doing some of your classes and my leg shaking or just losing my balance or whatever it was. And now I observe, wow, I can do this now. And where prior to my injury, I wouldn't have even measured it.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's another thing that is part of my determination, is that experience of not being able to do something for so long, and now I can. It's well, I'm not going to miss a day.
That's fair.
Yeah.
For sure. So, we talked a little bit, we kind of touched on your not so favorite pose. I take it fire log pose might be your least favorite, or the one you love to hate.
For yin, for sure. Those ones where you're holding them and you really feel that. For me, any work in my hips is very intense, and I feel it in my heart.
Yeah, and they say,
that intensity and breathing, it brings me back to giving birth to the boys. There's this that happens. So there's a lot that's going on, not just the physical sensation, but there's a level of deep emotion that I'm working through at the same time.
Yeah.
So any of those really intense hip ones, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what they say, that the hips is, the real seat of emotion when it comes to yoga and sensations that we feel. And there's so many of our, the spinal column has all the nerve messaging going through from the brain to the body. And right where the hips are is kind of the base of the spine. So you've got all these nerve endings in this area. Plus you have very large joints. Basically, our top half and our bottom halves are being held together in that area. So you've got huge muscle tissue, you've got huge connective tissue, the fascia that's holding on to the glutes, to your quads, your hamstrings, that's encapsulating your organs. So you've got all that tissue kind of intersecting, and all of those nerve endings intersecting in that area. So it's no wonder that you feel such intensity when you do hip work. So it resonates very well that that's where you're going to, have that sensation of giving birth once again by holding double pigeon.
I know.
for an extended period of time.
Yeah. But you feel so good when it's done.
Absolutely. It does. And you have that sense of, oh my goodness, I'll never be able to walk again when you first come out of it. And you have to kind of so slowly, especially when you're talking about a yin pose, hip pose. So we've got a few that have just joined in here. We have Yo and Virginia, and we have Yoga with Bella. Derek popped on a little while ago as well. Derek's Journeys. So welcome, everyone. It's lovely to have you joining us in our yoga chat this afternoon. I can't believe how quickly the time has gone by. We've had a little headstand demonstration, so if you missed it, you'll want to catch that on the replay. And just some really good information as far as maybe for someone who is new coming to the practice, or even someone that's been practicing for a while. And sometimes when you've been practicing for a while and you encounter some roadblocks or obstacles, it's just really, really great to know that you're not alone, that as yogis, as we come onto the mat, we share some of these common experiences. So yeah, it's a pleasure to have you guys joining us as we continue on here chit-chatting. So we've already had a little bit of advice. Miriam mentioned that, really it's about showing up and kind of starting at the beginning. So if you are thinking of starting a yoga practice and you're not sure where to start, if you're starting virtually, and the beauty about virtual sometimes is that people are intimidated going into a classroom setting where they may think that, oh my gosh, everybody else knows what they're doing in here and I'm the only one that doesn't know anything about anything. So starting virtually, you're in the comfort of your own home. You can do it in your pajamas if you want. You don't even need a yoga mat. You can just have a blanket on the floor or on your rug to just start from the beginning. Take one of those beginner yoga videos and just kind of play with it. I promise you that if you take those first steps, you will be able to gradually learn more about your body, what feels good, what doesn't feel so good, and the more you learn, the better you get at it. Because one of the questions, I had a Q&A a few weeks ago, and one of the questions is, am I doing it right? Well, in a classroom setting, the yoga teacher, it is common practice that you are going to get somebody like the teacher putting hands on you to just kind of help move your body in the position that it should be for you to feel the maximum benefit out of the pose. Well, that might feel rather intrusive or uncomfortable if you're brand new to the practice. So in your own setting, watching a video, you have the opportunity to, to kind of feel it out yourself before you get to that place. So any other words of advice that you might want to give, Miriam, from your perspective?
Always have your water bottle handy. Kleenex. I've always got a runny nose when I work. Words of advice: just get started. For goodness sakes, just try and don't be intimidated. Just give it a go. And if it's not working at home and it's difficult, well, when things do open up, like go to a class, sign up for a beginner class, and give it a try, because there is something to be said about being in that classroom setting and with an instructor that can correct your body position where you may not have the awareness, that you're potentially putting your body in an awkward position that could cause an injury. So both virtually is great. I mean, getting moving is great, but if it's not working at home, don't don't discredit the whole experience and try again elsewhere, or with different instructors too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's easy for me to do your classes knowing that I already love doing Sue's yoga classes. You know, you've got my thumbs up. But I tried a challenge with some friends in the beginning of January. It was yoga with Adrienne, and it didn't work for me. And she's got millions of followers, but that wasn't what I was looking for. So I went back to doing your classes, and yeah, that's my pace, that's my jam, and it could be the same for other people. So, you know, there's just so many types of yoga, and so many different instructors, and with music and without, and you know, environments. We talked about the heated room and the not, or I used to go to a community center and to a gym, to a yoga studio. You know, it's just everywhere, and the choices are endless, and just to get going. And if you're not sure, like that restorative one that you do, or even the one before bed, you know, just try them out and get on with it.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, before we wrap up, another question for you. If you could have any superpower available, what would you want as your superpower?
Oh. I was thinking flying would be super amazing. Okay, flying, holding my breath endlessly so you could swim. Turn back time.
That's a good one.
Turn back time. That'd be it. Then I could see my parents again.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Oh, and I wouldn't have fallen on that black ice on March last year.
Yeah, we may not have even had COVID.
Yeah. Oh, definitely turn back time.
The possibilities are endless.
It's like the if I could have 3 wishes, and your last wish is always, well, I'd wish for 3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, turn back time. That seems like a win-win for everybody.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's a great power for you, and it benefits everyone. So that's a really good one. So it just goes to show you what kind of person Miriam is. Very giving, very thoughtful of others, and you know, that emanates out of you. So what a great way to for me to wrap up 31 days of Zen as far as our guest speakers. So one more day though, 31 days. So tomorrow is the 31st. So
you can do it, Sue. You can do it.
Yes.
You'll be a champion.
Yoga Pilates. We're going to have a fusion of Pilates and yoga as well. So that's at 11 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, and wrapping up today, I just really want to thank you so much, Miriam, for giving of your time. I know it's very precious because you have a lot to juggle. So for you to come on and to, hey, Jessica, welcome, welcome. We're just wrapping up, thanking our wonderful guest here, Miriam Kilby, giving of her time on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, and really being such a big cheerleader of mine. And you know, I think as friends, we complement each other very well. And I think our passion for yoga has made this hour go by so quickly, you know, and it's just fun. I just feel like, you know, very casual. It's very, it's what we like to talk about. It's what we like to do. So we really share this passion, and it's been such a good time sharing that with you and with everyone else, whether you're here now or whether you catch us on the replay. So yeah, I think we can wrap it up here. So thank you so much for everyone that's tuned in. Jessica, Yo, we'll see you guys real soon on YouTube, and take care, everyone. Be sure to stay tuned in. June, we go back to 1 practice per week. This week, our practice is going to be the Yoga Pilates that's on tomorrow. So be sure not to miss it. If you can't be there live, I'll see you on the replay. So thank you, everyone. Have an amazing Sunday. Thank you so much, Miranda. Bye.